Hello, YouTube fans, here again. Am I not this one? It's the Goonies! That's right, the Goonies. John Jonte, the director, were doing this, The Omen, Superman, the Moive, as well as Lethal Weapon. Well, before Lethal Weapon, he did this one. Now, after the success of the Superman, the Moive, he wanted to keep it mild. So he worked with our mate, being Steven Spielberg, to do the Goonies. Kids adventure film, very similar to like indie and all that, but more of a comedy, more of an adventure film, being the Goonies. Now at the time, you had one little kid, and if you think you've seen him before, think of the little kid that played Shorty in Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. Because Steven Spielberg was impressed by him, he felt he'd be ideal for this role, being in the Goonies. Now, the Goonies is that good film, it's an adventure film, it's arts on its sleeve, and so on. So basically, it's these tea leaves, these bank robbers to break out of prison to go after the gold. Ooh. And on that, you've got the Goonies, all these young kids, and they're down on the luck. The mum's about to get affected, and they find a map addressed to the gold and the diamonds and everything else. So they go for the map. So long below, you got a lot of the one. You got one old woman. You think you've seen this old woman before. I always remember it's been a lot of films. Sad to say, she's no longer with us. I always remember the Mammy from the Train. She appeared in. I remember the movie Deadly Friends. Someone gets their head splattered by a basketball. Been down a lot of other films and all. And she got this one son. He's got his body deformed in the face and everything. I can't think of the name of him now. But his body's deformed, you know. You got the little chubby kid. I know it's not a nice word to say, but he is. He's chubby. And you got all the other ones. And basically, they're after the gold as well. So they get into this house to find out the criminals, the thieves, and they find this big tube, and it basically just becomes that fencer film, and it does that fencer film, you know, old still, I do that fencer film and so on. I love the bit where they play this piano and the steps slide off. I can't sew it, copyright and everything, but it's sliding off, and the things are going down, and you got to keep pressing the piano to get the right notes. I love that. I love the bit where the forte's in and they're falling down. I love that. A little bit of the little lad's phoning the piece and he's talking about this, and he's sort of like a love letter to Gemnins. I like that feel and all. So there's a lot of good offensive feel to it, so there's a lot of humour in it. You've got one kid in it. So you've got this one kid and he calls the phone and he says, "Let me test." This is what the police officer says, "Let me test the multiply by water." So you got that. You got the state sea medals, the on the ship, the fighting, the baddies, and they get the diamond, they get the gold, they get everything. And basically, they pay the bills, they pay the debt, and it's a happy ending. So yeah, I like the doing this. You know, I like the bit with this one kid. He thinks it's his due. She can't see him. She tisses him. He's only a kid. There's a lot of funny bits in it, and the art's on its sleeve. So I like the doing this. No, I like the doing this. It's, you know, it's a straightforward. It's an adventure film. The kids you like, they're funny, they're wacky. So I also remember the song and all. There was a date song with some of the wrestlers who were sadly no longer with us. I don't think how the song goes, but it's a well-known song. It was used for the film The Goonies, and again in 1985, Bedema bid it. Bedema bid it. They were going to do a sequel of The Goonies, but it's one of these, would they ever make a sequel now? The kids are no longer kids, they're all growing up. They were going to do a sequel where the kids were all growing up. It was the kids following on the daddy's footsteps, and they were going to do it again, but they were all growing up, finding gold, finding diamonds and rubies. It never happened. And in this case now, one is, do I really want to see a sequel now of the Goonies? Do I really want to see a sequel? You know, I always do it. But I do think Steven Spielberg, he did a good one with John Dante, a date at Fencerfield. They go into the tomb, something happens. Go to another part of the tomb, something happens. It's not realistic. So fucking what? the end of the day, I want to see something to get me away from realistic, depressing real life. This is an adventure film. It's a kids' adventure film. I weren't paying into it for realism. I was paying into it for a Buccaneer adventure film. So when escapism, big word, escapism. So that's what I like about the Goonies. The Goonies had that adventure feel to it. You had villains you like, you had heroes you like. And that's what I mean. You had the heroes you like the villains, they're all characters. That's something you never see these days, and that's what I like about the Goonies. I think the Goonies is too an entertaining film. I watched it loads of times. It's like I say, it's your typical adventure feel. It's a kids' adventure film. So again, I think Steven Spielberg, I think John Jonte did a good one. That's the Goonies. What else can I say? 5-star rating for me. I'm not going to make it as big as other ones. It's straightforward. It's an adventure film. It has a good bit of comedy. And like I say, repeat myself, it starts on its teeth. I do feel the bit with the dies badly deformed. Kind of bit thingy today's era. How can I put it? How can I put it? Unparticularly correct. I'm going to say that again. Unparticularly correct. But again, it's a different era, it's a different time. I like the humour in it, I like the Goonies. I think the Goonies was a big popular film, it was a big hit in its day. A lot of young people in today's era love the Goonies. They love the Goonies. What else can I say about the Goonies? So again, Steven Spielberg made a good one. A lot of well-known actors in it who are now all growing up. You may remember in a lot of other films. So again, without ado, 5-star rating from me. Put into them. Be smart. Be safe. See you later.